sitting on us. So we ask that you open us up, and that when we're looking for it, that it comes and it manifests for us. We ask that everybody's in the Holy Spirit, everybody's in the right energy, and we come in your name. Amen.
Amen. Respect and gratitude. So how this came about is every year we have an annual weekend called RBG Weekend, where we have a series of events that goes on for the community. And the Black Authors Summit was one of those events, where we would have an event where we would teach people the entire process, right? We'll have speakers come in. We'll have people that are new authors, previous authors, that'll come in and just talk about their journey. So what we wanted to do here is same thing, but turn it into a master class where we have 3 quarters where we teach you the entire process. So with this one, we're going to start with Q1 today, where we're going to talk about the foundations of writing the book, right? So everything from the writer's block to actually getting your thoughts out of your head onto the paper, that entire process. And then in 2 months, it's going to be structuring and finalizing your manuscript. And that's going to be on March 30th. So every masterclass is going to be on the last Sunday of each month. And I'm also going to send everybody printouts as well after the event. So it's going to be on the last Sunday of each month. And the structuring and finalizing, and that's going to go deeper into the process. And we're going to talk about, ISBN numbers, LCCNs, Library of Congress, the editing and the formatting, all of those things. So when you're done with this masterclass, you're going to know the entire process, not just the writing aspect, but everything there is to know about writing the book. Even if you don't want to do it yourself and you want to have somebody else, a publisher, do it for you, an editor do it for you, you're still going to have that knowledge, right? And then in May, Q3, we're going to do the publishing and the marketing of the book, right? So actually turning that, what it went from your head into what's on the paper. Now it's going to be a physical book. We're going to give you resources and all that. Also go over the publishing aspect, right? Public speaking. We're going to have to do a pitch on that book, right? We're going to go all of those things. So in the end, we want you to have everything that you need to know about it. And then we're going to follow it up with the annual Black Authors Summit in August. That's when we usually have it. And that is going to be an opportunity for, hopefully, students to get up on that stage and talk about their journey. So what we're wanting, we don't want to just give you the information, right? We don't want to just give you the information and you just take it. We want you to actually come out of this as authors. Whether it's in 2 months or 3 months or 5 or 6, we want
2 years.
2 years,
18-year vets up in here.
We want you to come out of this as authors. And hopefully in August when we have the Black Authors Summit, you, maybe all of you, can present there and talk about your journey, what worked for you, if you have a book out at that time, right? Even if you don't have a book, you can still talk about your journey, right? That's our goal with that.
Can I add to that part? Just that part?
Yes, sir.
By the time we get to the Authors Summit, you're talking about an opportunity to have a nice group of individuals coming to support over a weekend. And a lot of times when you have a new product, what do you need somebody to sell it to? So it becomes an opportunity to present your book and have an audience already prepped for you to be able to get your sales. So even if that becomes your launching day, you're able to come out like, oh, this is what it looks like to actually have a new product with from a raw material to a finished product and have an audience to sell it to, which that's part of our game plan as we go to this masterclass.
Yes. And we also want to have accountability a part of this.
Yes.
So with the quarterly masterclasses, right? January, March, May, that's all we have to figure out. I can't just say this. Mess. I got January, March, what's after, you know what I mean? Like, with the quarterly masterclasses, at the last Sunday of the following month, so February, April, right? The last Sunday, we're also going to have a virtual class as well. Not necessarily a class, but just a virtual call where we'll just go over like any concerns, any questions, right? If you need some extra motivation. And of course, everybody will also have our contact information. So, you might be writing a book that's similar to something that I've written and I can answer questions for you. Same thing with him, right? We're all authors here. So we just want to want you to glean on it as much as possible and us to be that accountability partner to allow you to actually come out of this as published authors, right? We understand that a lot of people, some of you probably had book ideas for 10 years, 15 years, maybe short, maybe 5, right? So our goal is to make authors out or help, right? You're going to do most of the work. you know, we in cut with it, but you know, we want to do everything in our power to get as much Black authors as we can. That's the goal, right? Anything else? Anybody else want
to maximize? Everybody knows Bookstore is Grassrootz Bookstore. Well, Grassrootz Bookstore is right now our only local Black bookstore here in Phoenix. So part of the goal is how do we get your finished product into also a store. So this is part of that whole connection and building support.
Yeah, we are partnering with Grassrootz Bookstore with this, and like you said, it's not you know, if you have a book, a good person, they'll definitely you can definitely be in that bookstore. So let me ask the question: how many current authors do we have in here? Okay. Oh, okay. I got some. What about you, young lady? No. Well, okay. All right. So, how many writers? Like, if you're somebody that just enjoy writing, like that's you love writing. Okay. What kind of grades did you get in English class back then? It's all good. All right. So, anything else, or we're gonna go into the next piece, or?
Not that I can think.
Okay. All right. So let's get this show on the road.
I don't know too long.
Okay. Simone.
And as we bring up Simone, well, before we bring up Simone, I want to shout out Bilal as well. Bilal is actually one of our most recent authors. 2024. 2024, he just dropped his first book. And if I'm right, that book wasn't your original game plan. It wound up turning into that. Is that right? Can you speak on that real quick?
The introduction?
Wait, no, you was here for the whole thing?
Yeah, come introduce me.
Yes. So, peace and blessings, everyone. Excuse my tardiness as well. I kind of got a little confused in regards to the time. I flipped the 30 minutes around. I thought it was 1:30. Looking at the flyer too fast, but I apologize for that, and I appreciate your patience as well. So, my name is Brother Bilal Munir Rahim. As Brother Hannibal mentioned, I became a first-time author last year for the first time after having the idea to write a book since 2014 is when it really came to me. And just not necessarily knowing and understanding the steps that there's actually a format to getting the process done is what held me back. Once I finally got that information by my good brother Javion, it helped me push forward and complete my first book. So I'm glad to have you all here today with us and be able to share this information. As Javion mentioned, it was birthed out of the RBG weekend that we do.
What is RGB?
RBG is Red, Black, and Green, which is it's a Pan-African movement based off of Marcus Garvey and the UNIA. However, with that particular event, we realized that it was going to be, we're trying to rush a lot in a short period of time. So the best thing to do was kind of break down the steps so that way we can spend as much time as possible on each particular part. And that's what this master's class is. So thank you all for being here. Brother Bilal Munir Rahim.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Before we bring Simone up, I know our brother Nakia is in the back. He's a man of many facets. So today he's going to be our video production director. I'm gonna throw a whole bunch of titles with that. Engineer, no, I'm telling you, photographer, but bouncer. But no, our dear brother also is an author. So if you at least come up and introduce yourself and let them know a little bit about you as well. It's okay to clap. Y'all know what I mean? Like,
peace and prosperity, everyone. I'm Brother Nakia, as he mentioned. I am a self-published author as well. A little bit about me. I'm from a little town in Arkansas with a population of about 5,000 if you include all of the cows, chickens, and dogs and all of that in the mix, right? And, you know, I grew up extremely poor, but the thing that I was always filthy rich in was this concept called love. As a matter of fact, I didn't have running water up until about the age of 5. So, shocking. Yeah. Here in America, someone grew up without running water in America. But I was always filthy rich in the concept of love. And that's what really transpired. That's what really inspired me to write the book that I did write. which the first book that I've published already is called From Poverty to Prosperity, The Truth About the Wealth of God's Love. And it's also inspired me to continue to do many writings. As a matter of fact, I've got 4 books in the hopper right now as we speak. Children's book as well. I've got one. It's already written. I'm just working now to get the graphics that I need to be able to put it together. It's about my daughter. So I'm also a father of 4 with a 5th on the way as we speak. My oldest is 20. And so that gives you an idea of the span of ages here. So I have a passion for just helping out people, and that's what I've been doing here as a collective in the community. I've been blessed with the opportunity to travel globally, which helped me to be able to understand how people live in different regions of the world. Gave me a different perspective. I believe that travel is one of the best teachers. And, you know, I'm just blessed to be in front of you and be able to help like-minded individuals get to that point where you're able to do the same thing that, you know, the Lord has blessed me to be able to accomplish, which is to be able to publish your first book. And I also have done public speaking in different areas. So as I travel globally, I had the opportunity of sitting in settings similar to this, where I was training individuals in different areas of the world. So I say that to say that I also specialize in being able to help you to speak and get that vision out of you in front of people. I know nerves always kick in with everybody. It's, you know, even someone that's been seasoned and a veteran at speaking, nerves kick in, but I'm here to also help you with understanding how to use those nerves to help you to be able to put that message out there the way that it needs to be put out there. So I'm Brother Nakia. That's me.
Thank you. All right, and thank you for giving them that brief background on who you are, because you know, I was about to just go right into it. You know what I mean? And I realized like y'all don't need to know it. Like, like who is these people trying to teach us about writing the book? You know. So my name is Davion, and originally from California. Moved out here in 2016. And what got me into writing was I always had a passion for writing. Right? English class, went back in high school, always enjoyed it. In college, I was one of those where if they give us an essay to do a 3-page essay, I'm writing 8. You know, I'm writing 10. I always just had a passion for writing. Got a background in music, writing scripts, film, right? So just writing is just my thing, it's a passion of mine. And I wrote my first book in 2016 when a friend of mine, I still have a clothing brand, and she kept telling me, you need to write a book on how to do, the process, how to teach people how to do it. And I didn't want to write that book because I had other books in mind, but she just kept on egging me on. And finally, I said, you know what? I've always wanted to become an author, so I think this would be a great introduction into doing it. So I wrote my first book, Seven the Middleman, in 2016. And then since then, I've written 8 books. So I've just published my most recent book a month ago that nobody knows, but I just did it in secret. So I just published my 8th book last month with more to come. Like that's my passion. Like writing is my therapy. With every book that I publish, it's like I just came out of seeing the therapy, right? So it really helps me out, and so that's why I do it. Now I would like, you know, since I just gave a little brief background to myself, oh, I'm also a father too, father first. I got to start with that. So you got to appreciate that. Let them know.
Yeah, I know we're excited. We've done a few, but it's always nice to come back out and reintroduce ourselves. Like I said, my name is Brother Hannibal. I've written, I think altogether I have about 5-6 published books. 2 that are photo books, photomatics. I'm a photographer by trade as well. I work in wealth management as well, and I work in behavioral health. So I still owe a book in regards to behavioral health and how they handle children that come in the system. I've also, my 2 latest books, one is In My Father's Steps, I dedicated to my father. And then I have a book that's titled Legacy Beyond the Grave. And then you all will be gifted 5 steps to self-publishing. That'll be part of in the program. So you'll be able to take that home and have pretty much an advance of how to go. What got me into photography, what got me into writing books, I never considered doing this. So y'all understand, I was never like, he did good in English. English was my course. I was more of a math science guy. I couldn't stand English. So, but I had a couple books that came to my mind, a little bit of my past. I had a book I wanted to write. A lot of people don't know this. That was titled How to Woo a Woman on a College Budget. I'm just saying, I was in school and it was like, we ain't got this before the Netflix and chill days. So that was one of the first books I even considered wanting to write. But I have this one book I still haven't written yet. And as I started working on it or trying to get to it, I was very intimidated by this particular book because this one book, to me, it really pretty much identifies me. And I don't want to lose credibility in this book, so I want everything to be accurate. So as I was trying to consider writing this book, I said, well, I don't know how to write a book anyway. So let's find something else to start with. And that's how I got into writing books. I would have known route first so I can build my confidence up in writing books. So as we're going through this, you may have an idea, like, I want to write this book, but it seems heavy. You might go an easier route first just to get the steps of writing books. I tell everybody, you have a minimum of 50 books that live in you. That's like, oh my God, 50? You have a minimum of 50 books that are in you. Your conversation with your parents, your conversation with your siblings, your experiences, situations at work, your day-to-day. These are books. These are your life stories. So even if they're small books to big books, we have so many books that sit in us. So at some point in time, I want to write a book about my daughters. I want to tell my daughters are superheroes. So we have children's books as well. So there's so many things that we can write about that's in our daily life. Our mindset a lot of times goes with, nobody wants to read. It's me. I'm nobody. No. There's somebody who's going through what you've been through. There's somebody who's looking for guidance, and you might be giving them exactly what they need to get there. And even though you may not see it now, as you lay these things out, these things also become part of your lives. So as we get ready to introduce one of our superstars, I'm assuming we have to call her that, but she is, our dear Sister Simone, who's going to be pretty much heading today's class. She is one of our newest authors. She finished hers before the lab, but she came to the Black Authors Summit. She enjoyed it. She loved it. She connected with Kia, myself, and Javiana at the time. And through that process, she started writing books, writing her first book. And it's a novel. And the beautiful thing about this book that she started on, it didn't just come out and say, all right, I sat down, the book is finished. She would do rough patches, she would do ups and downs, she had to stop. She had a child, as you hear him in the background, cheering her on. It's either you already cheering on, mama coming up. So she had to even take moments of stopping. But by the time we got to our last author summit, she was able to come out and just say herself. So she made it to the finish line, and she's going to be one of our prizes that you all get to soak in on the process of doing it. So you all can help us bring up my dear Sister Simone. I got it. Come on, but he's going to be all right.
You guys have any yet? Go ahead. How are you guys? I know y'all a little nervous today, but I'm nervous too, so I think y'all need to feed me. I'm gonna feed y'all. We're gonna do this together. As I said, my name is Simone. I came to the first my first Black. Was that the first one I came to? Or that was one?
Yes.
Yeah. Was that
That was the very first one.
Yes. Oh, I didn't know that. I thought you had. Okay.
You are the original.
I was at the first annual Black Authors Summit as just an aspiring writer like you guys. I just came because I needed, honestly, motivation. I had been writing. God gave me the book. My story is kind of like Brother Hannibal's. I wanted to write a book about myself, about my life. It was very intimidating. I've been through a lot, but I had a long story. So I found a different direction. One day it was like, why do I have to write a nonfiction autobiography right now? Right? Why can't I use my imagination and go into fictional writing and create a story and let those characters be influenced by my real life? Right? So that's where my book came from. It is my first published book that's called From Destruction to Destiny, Concrete Rose. Again, I came to the summit, and one of the best things about the way that this dynamic is set here, I like to say we're a family, is I came and I was sitting next to Brother Bilal. And I knew Brother Bilal. I had seen his face in the community doing work years prior. So when I walked in and saw a familiar face, it made me more comfortable. And then I was connected to people who didn't. Everybody can walk around with their noses up like I'm an author. Don't talk to me. I'm published. And everybody who's like, come in, we are here, let's do what you need. And nobody here is doing this because they want to get paid. This is because we all have a vision. We all have one vision what's that movie? One band, one family. One vision, one mission, and we want other people to experience the same emotions and uh, joy that we've experienced when we publish books. So I came to the summit. It was a great experience. I connected first with Brother Nakia, and then soon after connected. Well, let me back up. That's not. I connected first with Brother Javion via social media. I was actually like inboxing him, asking him questions about being an author, writing, and him being an editor. Just had so many questions, and then the summit came, and I connected with Brother Nakia, and I soon after connected with Brother Hannibal. And when I tell you they walked with me from I'm talking about Brother Hannibal got calls that had nothing to do. That's true. And like prior to me, the conception of my son, Brother Hannibal got a call like I'm dating this guy. I don't know. Then the next call was Brother Hannibal was pregnant. Brother Hannibal, I'm sick pregnant. Don't know if I'm gonna finish the book. And he's like, look, take all the time you need. We're gonna get this book done. Book's getting ready. So soon after that, I gave birth to my son, and I heard the Lord tell me to finish the book. The day after the Lord told me to make sure I finished the book, Davion reached out again and was like, hey, I want to bring you back to the summit. And I was like, oh, that's why God told me to finish the book this year. Okay. So the book got done. Davion was hand in hand with me all through the editing process and bringing the book to fruition. And the feeling of when you first hold your book in your hand, talk about that. Yeah. It's so powerful. Like, it might sound small. I don't care when you finally get that book in your hand, there's going to nobody clap for you. One, we going to clap for you. You are going to be celebrated. But the feeling you're going to have within yourself, because you have finally brought in all those thoughts that was crowding your mind, that you fought to put on paper, comes together into one beautiful piece of finished work that you can now share with the world, is going to feel amazing. So, I'm excited. That's my background. That's my story. Again, I only have one published book right now. I'm working on it's a 3-book series. It's a trilogy. Again, it's called From Destruction to Destiny: Concrete Rose. And the first book isn't very long. It's an introduction into the character. I'm working on book 2 now, and then I'm also working on. You say you're working on some children's books. Me and Javion is assisting me too, working on a series of children's books. Like every time I have an idea and I start writing, I'm like, I got this, like just randomly, it'd be late at night, like I know it's late, get back to me in the morning, but I got some questions. So we are going to be here to support you the whole way through. They're 100% supportive. It's just not one of those situations where you're going for something and everybody pumps you up and then we're going to throw you to the wolves and you don't hear from us no more. So I'm excited. Real quick, because I know we all need introductions. Is it okay if we just do slight introductions to everybody in the room so we can get to know each other? We can go around, just tell me your name, where you're from, if you have a book idea yet, if you don't, and what you're looking forward to most.
Hello everyone, my name is Kai Vaughn. I'm from Louisiana. By trade, I do beauty. I'm an esthetician. I do lashes, and I'm an aesthetics instructor. So that's kind of how I moved out here. December made a year that I've been out here. I have more book ideas in my heart, in my head, and a lot written down that I can count, but I never just. So my goal is to really, I want to publish a book about my journey in the industry, as I've been doing lashes for 6 years, an esthetician for 4 years, and teaching for 2 years, and being the owner of the first Black male-owned lash program recognized by it's crazy that I'm even here doing this right now. I was telling my friends about it. It's like, you going to what? I'm like, you wouldn't understand no way. Everybody knows how to do. So I'm really excited to write my book about my journey as an instructor. My students are always asking about what I've done. I don't think much of it because it's just my life, but I want to be able to pour into people, not just in person, but those that I may not be able to see, or help someone that has a similar interest in the beauty world like I have. So.
I love that. Yeah. I can ask you one request, because I already saw like 80 books coming out of there. Seriously, that's good. That's good. Right? But at the end of your first book, it's my only request. Can you put like 3 to 5 tips on how to like maintain lashes, do lashes, whatever it is. So after they read it, they can now start implementing it.
Yeah, we'll do right there.
There you go. Okay.
And I'm going to go back and forth like this. So how do you go, man?
My name is Martin Morris, and I have never written a book. I have an in-home daycare, and I just wanted to do like a little series on different emotions that the kids have spiritually. So I thought social emotional kind of thing. Like, every day I hear, I'm not your friend, so that's gonna be my first time. First thing. Yeah. So that's where I'm really sorry.
That's wonderful. I'd love to connect with you on that. I'm actually working on a project myself on Barbara daycare. So let's connect on that. I love that. And then we got who's here. Hey, hi, I'm Felicia.
Yes.
Felicia, not Felicia. And I was born in New York, raised in Iowa, but I've lived here for 25 years, so I feel like I'm in Arizona, just the badge of honor for that. And I write a lot of short essays. I tried to write a memoir, and then I had like the whole forward and structure and your childhood and what's the arc and what characters and at some point I was like, girl, just write. So now I just get to a point where I just write different essays and little short stints about what I recollect, so that way at the end I'll be able to put the puzzle together later. But just write. So I guess
So, Alicia, to speak to that, just know that you're not the only one who goes through that as well. I wrote my first book. It literally came together like that. Again, short essays, and I had an idea to publish by going to get copyrights on all of those articles, 89 of those articles. And they literally, the day before I submitted my request, they changed it to where they'd only publish one article. So I had to end up putting it together as a book, and lo and behold, it came together like you. So just know clarity will come. You're doing what you need to do in the moment right now. That's perfect.
And then we'll drop it over to you, and I'm just going to be going around. I'm going to hand this out as we're doing this. We'll use it later on.
That hair came with the finish.
Maybe
Oh, you cold now.
It's not working. I'm gonna be on my phone.
My name's Nick Morrison. I'm the other half. Retired. I'm originally born and raised in New Jersey. And I kind of got a weird journey. It's just I hate writing. Always did. Always will. That is like not on my list. However, I did write a book that never got published. There's only one copy in existence, and I made it for my daughter. In case one day she decides to be a grandfather, I took the title of the book is 30 Weeks in 30 Weeks, and it's all in the state of Arizona. And so basically it's more photo book, and I, and wrote, took some great photos, and how was I feeling, what was I thinking, where was I standing, and the whole purpose of the book was to, one day, she has kids and I'm not around, what was grandpa like? And so they had 30 weeks of my life in that book. I started another book. It's not published. They never get published. And now I'm on book number 3 that I started, so you guys need to help me. A lot of help.
You said it may never get published. That's a lie. It's getting published. That's a lie. It's getting published.
I think I still got your address. Oh, yeah. You don't you? Yes. Anyway, I'm publishing a book.
That's right. There we go.
I just got informed that I'm
Power of the words.
Over here.
Hello. Yes, my name is Deetra with a T. Yes, that can be a book too. I was born in Louisiana, raised in Arizona, so I have to consider myself Arizona, unfortunately. I am an actress, educator. It's been 2 years now, but I lived in China for 5.5 years. So, yeah.
That's a book.
Swap books, that's easy.
That's going to be our, we're going to make t-shirts.
That's the book, exactly.
Wait, what's that? So we're going into the next.
I'm recently diagnosed ADHD neurodivergent, so one of the things that I had in mind to create is a to in the book as well. Just about being yourself, you know. I feel like a lot of times, as us as adults, really want to harp in on the kids, and I just want them to know, like, it's okay to be, you know. So that's kind of but yeah, I'm excited to be here. I'm grateful, blessed. Finally, all the emails that my uncle been pumping out, one finally worked because he says everything. So this is the first one where I feel like, okay, I can sign up for this. So I'm happy to be around my people and just, yeah, really put myself out there because that's the thing in 2025, to thrive and put myself out there for many different things. So yeah.
I love that. I love that. Alrighty, your turn.
My name is Mikkel. I just moved here 2 months ago from Indianapolis. I'm a hairstylist and I also work with kids with autism. I've never been around before. I've never had a dog really, except for I like to journal. So I feel like I want to kind of turn my journaling into a book. My experiences, the things I learned, and I learned a lot of self-growth, self-help books. So
How many journals do you already have finished? Did you from paper, cover to cover? That's right.
I got goosebumps as you were speaking, so let me just take a moment to say, be confident in what you're doing. Be confident in every word you put on the paper. Be confident that you have something for people to hear. Don't let anybody try to convince you that no one wants to hear from you. Sometimes we put everything on, I've done a lot too. Sometimes we put it on paper because it feels like there's no one that hears us. But somebody's going to pick it up one day. Somebody's going to hear you and see you and feel you through those books. So keep going no matter what. We are going to connect more. I don't know. There's something here. We're going to build on it. All right? All right.
Hold on, so before you go, because I just heard say style hairstyles. So I saw a connection here.
Oh,
That's
okay.
and I heard you say autism.
yeah.
Then I saw a connection here, and I saw a connection here. So you see glide it all the time. So you don't have to do this by yourself. We can vibe off each other.
And especially, I'm also going, I'm glad you said that, but then I want to remind you, I just got diagnosed a month ago with ADHD. And when I say that it was both a relief and kind of like, because all my life was in my crazy girl. Well, I just a messy person.
Exactly.
Like, why can't I organize?
Yeah.
Like, I'll tell brother, I'll be talking to JD, I'll be like, oh, get that to you tonight. 2 weeks later, you're here, I'm like, I'm like, I'm doing tonight.
Yeah.
3 weeks later, he's like, so I definitely, there's a lot, and a lot of this is going to be in the PowerPoint we're going to go through together. I'm going to kill this light just so you guys can see the screen better.
Yeah, and one other thing I will say as well, you guys may not have considered this, but it's okay also to co-author a book as well. I have a book that I'm working on right now, co-authoring with 3 other people as well. It's called Who Told You? Because here's the reality. The reality is this. We behave how we think. We think how we've been taught. So the question becomes, who told you? So just keep that in mind. We've got some really good connections here in the room already. And this is just a small portion of the people that we're expecting for this program. So
Thank you. I think you kind of, I'm going to also figure out what I was trying to do it earlier, but let me not tell a story. I'm going to have Brother Nick figure out how I'm going to email you this PowerPoint after today so you guys can be back to that, all right? So authors in the same
He will get it out to me.
right. Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true. Authors of 2025.
Nick, should I put this on her?
You want to do it?
you can. You know, as far as just leave it out.
I don't know how I can.
I gotta go.
Okay.
Authors of 2025, Journey to Publishing a Story That Will Live in This Earth Forever. I want you guys to think about that, take it in, chew on it, and every time that you get to a moment where you feel like you're just writing something, understand this is when we're going, when God calls us home, this is going to be in this earth forever. Your grandchildren's grandchildren are going to be able to pick up this book and read your work, and it's going to help people for centuries. So let's remember that. Kind of already did that part. This is just a quick overview. We kind of already went over this. Like some of you, I have been a writer all of my life. Poems, skits, stories. Started writing the book in 2023. Didn't publish till 2024 after I gave birth to my son. So understand I was writing it before I conceived him. I didn't publish till after I had him. So sometimes it takes a minute, sometimes it doesn't. But don't let nothing stop you. Book 2's in the making. Fiction. I'm writing. I call myself introducing a new genre, right? Because there's fictional, there's nonfiction, but the reality is the fiction is inspired by nonfiction events, right? Yeah, I'm a mother of, how did I not mention my babies? I'm a mother of 2 beautiful boys. My youngest is in the back. My oldest is 7. His name is Caden. He's amazing. He's not here. He's at home playing Fortnite. So, we kind of went over this too. Yeah, we can just go through this one because we kind of did all that. Who helped me? They've already introduced themselves, but we're just going to walk through a little bit of exactly what parts they played in my journey. Brother Nakia. You see our pictures? You wasn't looking. The top photo is from the first summit that I went to. I'm holding his book, From Poverty to Prosperity. Our stories were similar. We bonded on losing a sibling. He is passionate, he is honest, he is open, he is knowledgeable. Utilize your resources, y'all. He's a great resource. Utilize him. The picture on the bottom is actually from when I came. The first one was the Black Authors Summit as a writer. The second was the summit as a published author. Brother Hannibal. I purposely used the one at the top with the filter on it that you don't like, but it's not showing you that, so I have to tell you. Mentorship is beneficial to walk through all the stages of the writing process. Having someone who had already been through the process helped me believe that I could do it and execute the ideas in my head. He was a trusted source with my vision. I'm going to pause there. As much as we're going to get excited when we leave here today, and we're going to want to tell everybody we're writing a book, and we're going to want to tell everybody our ideas, don't. Really be intentional about who you're sharing it with. Because sadly, not everybody is rooting for us, right? And you don't want people to speak negatively into you or prey on your vision instead of praying for your vision. So create a safe space of people you trust, people that are going to keep you motivated, people that are going to encourage your writing and your ideas and your creative, and share with them. We bounced ideas off of each other and even explored other writing methods. He was the first one to introduce me to the fact that sometimes you don't always have to type and write. You can speak into your iPhone and let it record you that way. He introduced me to different genres. Even though we were both writing from different genres, our goals were the same. So Brother Hannibal was actually my mentor through the whole process. Javion, the man with the plan. Javion is a great resource when bringing it all together. He's a great resource through the whole process. But when it's time for you to bring it all together and it becomes really overwhelming because you're trying to figure out how to make this book, these words that you put on these pages, a final product, Javion is going to be a great resource for that. He's going to walk you through it. What I love the most, I think about when me and Javion went through that process was, even though I had presented him with what I wanted, as he edited the book, as he read through it, as he saw different things in his own mind, he shared that with me. So what did that do? It allowed me to see it from a perspective of a reader and then improve what I was going to put into the world, right? So he's a great resource for that. The editing, leave it to Javion. Now, I did add, don't send him a mess. Do some editing, because last time at the summit, I said, leave the editing to Javion. He was like, whoa, hold on. Don't just send me Yeah, absolutely. But no, seriously, as you're writing, like she said, just write. And if there's things that you didn't catch or things that you didn't see, trust me, Javion's going to catch it. Brother Bilal, look around you. Remember the faces of the people sitting next to you. That's going to be a big moment when you're on the end of this journey, right? The goal is to be standing and sitting next to the same faces at the end of your journey in this book. At my first Black Authors Summit, I was sitting next to Brother Bilal, an eager writer with a vision. Then my next one, I got to sit beside him again, but this time as a published author. Community is important. You are not alone. Now it's your turn. We kind of already did this. You guys kind of told us about your books and things, yeah, but we're going to go into discovering your purpose a little bit. First off, the definition of purpose is the reason for which something is done or created for which something exists. Another definition is have one's intention or objective. What is the reason for what you're doing? What is the reason for what you're creating? Take a moment and I want you, everybody, if you have paper, write down what is the purpose. And I want you to think about that, and I want you to physically put it on paper somewhere, and I want you to hang it somewhere where you can see it every day. What is the purpose? Why am I doing this? Because when the going gets tough, I need you to remember why you're doing this. Why are you here? What makes you write? Be intentional about your writing. Everybody here today, you shared what you wanted to write. You shared why you wanted to write it. Be intentional about that. When you're writing, step outside of yourself. Step into the feet of the children at the daycare, the kids with ADHD, the other aspiring male estheticians and lash artists, the young girl who just keeps filling her journal and with words and wants to put it into the world in some way, the man who's just making books for his grandchildren. Be intentional about that person and keep going. Do not forget this purpose. Be disciplined, not just motivated. A couple weeks ago, I was watching a podcast, and it hit me like a ton of bricks when that woman said, she was like, well, I'm always motivated. One of the ladies said, I'm always motivated. The other lady said, don't be motivated, be disciplined. Because then when you wake up and you're not motivated, you're still disciplined enough to get it done. You're not always going to be motivated. You're not always going to want to write. You're not always going to want to get it done. What does discipline look like? For me, it's been a long day. My day started at 4 a.m. I get up, I do devotional and prayer. I spend time with the Lord. I get my son up for school. I get him off. I go to work. The day's long. I'm exhausted at the end of the day. But I know that I haven't written in a couple of days. But I told myself that tonight I was going to write at least one chapter or at least a couple of paragraphs. Motivation is not there. I'm exhausted. I'm frustrated. I'm a single mom. Well, my bad, babe. I'm engaged, but he be on the road. So I'm at home with my kids. I'm tired. So motivation says, I don't want to do this because of all of these reasons. But discipline says it has to be done. So I do it anyway. I put the kids in the bed. I feed them. I bathe them. I get them to sleep. And even if I can only push out a couple of sentences, even if I can only push out a paragraph, discipline made me put something on that paper that night. Maybe I didn't write. Maybe I read through the last paragraph I wrote yesterday and I noticed something I wanted to add to it, or it gave me motivation for the next day, but I opened it and I worked on it because I was disciplined even when I wasn't motivated. What or who inspires your story? Stay connected to whoever or whatever keeps your creative flowing. What helps you write? If you know that every time I hang out with this friend, they drain me, or every time I go to this certain environment, they make me not want to do it, maybe while I'm on the journey to get my book done, not to say, I'm not telling you how to cut your friends off. It's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is create distance between the things that are going to stop your creative from flowing, but find the things that do help your creative flow. Are you a person who likes to wake up at the crack and write for hours? Are you are you a person that, like my brother would say, you waking up before Jesus and the Mexicans? Get up. How early are you up? And if you're waking up early in the morning and that silence in the morning and that fresh air in the morning and that fresh, everybody's still asleep, the world not moving yet, this is when I do my best. That's what gets your creative flowing. Keep that going. If it's, do I like riding at the park? Sometimes there used to be there's a park on 83rd and Glendale I used to go to in the morning, and I would sit by the water and I would just hear the water flowing, and that helped me. Sometimes I'll go sit in the bathroom with my laptop and let the shower run, so I realize that water helps my creative flow. Whatever that is, reel into that, right? Um, that says blacks, but that's not what that's supposed to say. If it blocked your creative, that's something Javion would have caught if I would have sent it to him first. If it blocks your creative, distance yourself, or create spaces where it or they have no access while you're writing. Another example for me is my children. I cannot write when my kids are all over because both of my boys are spoiled. My little baby is climbing up my head, snatching my glasses off my face. My 7-year-old wants me to watch every video that pops up on his phone and wants to tell me about every new trick he learned on Fortnite or whatever. I know that as long as they're awake and in my space, I can't write. So I know that I have to create time away from my children so that I can be able to get it done, right? What are your short-term and long-term goals? This one is interactive. I want everyone to take a moment, write down 3 long-term goals and 3 short-term goals for your journey. But she's from a small town called Grayson, but she ends up in a big city, which is New York. So Grayson I can be completely creative with it because it's not real. So I can make it a small town. I can make the schools look and sound how I want them. I can make the people how I want them because it's not a real place. But by the time my reader's done, they're going to feel like they've been to Grayson, right? So are you saying Jane went to the market and this is what Jane did? Or is Jane saying, I went to the market and this is what I did? Who's telling your story? Does the point of view change at any point? Are you starting in chapter 1, 2, and 3 where you're telling Jane's story? In chapter 4, does Jane take over? In chapter 6, is Jane's brother now talking? Are you going to come from different points of view where Jane is telling the story and then her brother begins to tell the story from his perspective, but they're telling the same story, but you're seeing it from 2 different perspectives? Any questions? Brother Hannah.
And it's something that needs some more work on. As you talk about different points, you mentioned the travel 4 through 6 and everything. One of the things we ran into, which might be a if your creativity kicks up to chapter 12, which is way down the line, you haven't got there yet, but if for some reason you're thinking about how this character's doing something well here, work on that. Just work on it. Get it out, and then come back, work your way back to whatever that chapter you're on, because you don't want to lose whatever that is.
And I'm glad you mentioned that. Something else that Brother Hannibal, and this is fiction and nonfiction. When you are writing, be as detailed as possible. When you're writing a book and telling somebody about instructing, be detailed. Talk about how you feel when you're instructing. Talk about the emotions and the mindset that you're in while you're instructing. Talk about what you think the student is feeling. When you're writing your children's book, talk about how that child felt when they found out they had ADHD. How did they feel that first day? How did they feel that first day back at school when they found out they had ADHD? Talk about how the look on the kids' faces when they say, "You're not my friend." How did they look when they said that? How did it make you feel when you heard it? How did they feel? How did the other kid feel? Talk about how you feel when you're writing and how you love to write, but it's so hard to put your memoir together. What does that emotion feel like? What does that look like? Bring them in, and the reason I say that is because in a part of my book, I was speaking on this particular place, and Brother Hannibal asked me, he said, well, how did it smell when you walked in? How did it sound? What did the walls look like? Was it a brick wall? Was it a wood wall? Could you smell the wood if it got wet? Were the people friendly? Were they smiling at you? Were they looking at you funny? Were you nervous? Were you anxious? Be as detailed as possible because that's going to make your reader feel like they are right there with you. And when people read my book, they're like, yo, I feel like I just watched a movie. Like, I feel like I can see it. That's going to make you feel even better. It's going to be able to help you keep going.
And even in that process, don't restrict yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You can't think of an emotion or what it is at the moment. get whatever's on you off, and then come back to your proofreading,
Mm-hmm.
and then start adding in those additional.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't want you to get stuck.
Right.
You know, like get off whatever's on you, and then you have to come back.
Your plot. You don't need to know every detail, but the intent and message of your book should be clear. You don't want your reader to try to figure out what we're talking about. Make it clear on what you're talking about in your book. Again, this is something that don't make it sounds a lot tougher than it really is. You just want to make sure your reader understands what's going on, right? So what is your main idea? Will it be a single book or a trilogy? Is this book going to be a book that's going to bounce into another book? Who is your audience? Who are you talking to? Even though we're writing about children, do you want that book to translate to the children, but also translate to their parents as they're reading it to their child? Do you want that book to translate to your grandchildren, but also translate to the grandmother or the grandfather as they're reading it? Who do you want? You want your book to translate to just your students, or do you want other instructors to be able to pick it up and feed off of it too? What do you want to accomplish? Right? Obviously, like she said, she wants to make an income off her writing. Some of us are like, I just want to put it in the world, and that's okay. But if you just want to put it in the world, then you're fine. Look, I can write it, publish it, and put it in the world, and I'm good. But she wants to make an income off her writing. So that's going to be, I want to write it, I want to put it in the world, but maybe she wants to look into journalism. Maybe she wants to walk into a different realm and get connected to other communities and other processes so that her writing can actually be something she gets paid to do. She's made it clear, I want to make money off of this. So that's something else she wants to explore, right? Which will be something like marketing. Is this book to teach something to the reader, or is it simply entertainment? Is it both? Some books you read, I've read, and it's strictly like, this is a lesson. It's something I'm supposed to learn here. I'm not supposed to like reading it. It's just supposed to teach me something. There are some books that like, this book was just put here to be funny. It's just supposed to make me feel good. And that's okay too. Or is it supposed to be both? I want you to capture this lesson, but I want you to feel good while you're doing it, right? How does it end? This may change as the story unfolds, but it is good to have some sort of conclusion in your mind. You don't have to come up with the ending of your story right now, but you want some kind of idea on how you want that to play out, right? And the reason I say that this may change is because I thought book one was going to be it. I was halfway through when I said, Brother Hannibal, this is a trilogy. I'm going to stop here in this book, and it's going to lead to 2 more books, and who knows, I might get to book 3 and decide there's another book. I had an idea when I started, but as the story started to unfold, I realized that there were things I wanted to add into her life. Ideas kept coming to me about her life, like this should happen and this should happen. There's times we went back and chopped chapter 3, threw it out. Don't like it no more, it's gone. Rewrote it. Just a couple of weeks ago, I completely chopped chapter 3 and 4 of book 2 and rewrote it, a whole different scenario and dynamic, right? Start writing your first draft. No editing, just write. Don't go back like, oh, I misspelled this. Oh, I should have said this like this. Oh, just write. Just get it out of your head and put it on paper. That's all you're doing right now. That is all you are doing. You are writing, you are getting it on paper. Leave the editing to Jay. All right, that brings us to the end. Are there any questions, comments before I turn it over? Are we good? Everybody feeling good? Energy's up? All right.
When you decide that maybe you want to rewrite something or throw it out, one of the things that I do as a rapper as well is like sometimes I'll write a verse and never use it, but then I'll go back and I'll just pull different things that I like out of that particular verse and then write a better one. So you can do that same thing here. If you decide that you want to rewrite something, still keep it so that you can pull from it and then just kind of recreate it.
Well, once you do all of that, congratulations on being an author. The next step is to be excited, right? To becoming a published author. Great job.
All right. Man, that was great. We can go home now. Y'all saw I kept getting up. That's because she talked about a lot of stuff that I was going to talk about. So I'm like, yeah. You see all these red lines? I'm gonna talk about none of this stuff. So I want to say one thing that I always say is everyone has an author inside of them, right? We spoke to that. We all have a unique story to tell. Everybody, every last one of us. I don't care how old you are. The young ones that we got, a book can be made about their life. Right? We all have certain expertise, right? So just know that even if you think that you don't have, I don't have a story to tell. My life's not interesting. It is. It is to somebody. You're going through something that somebody else has been through. We're not the only ones, right? So we all have that unique story to tell. So always know that. So what I want to start first is, and he said everybody got at least a minimum of 50 books. I say 51. You know, I say 51. So I want to start with the different methods to get your thoughts on paper, right? Yeah, you know, like, yeah. he makes sure I hate that point. So it's 4 different ways, right? So first you got the writing, and that's writing with your hand. I know some of y'all might be old school with it. Y'all like to write. Me, it's not my thing. It hurts my hand quick, you know. And I'm the type where if I'm writing something, print with my hands, and it's sloppy, I want to ball up the paper and just start all over. So I can't go that route. But that's a method to get your thoughts on paper is to write it out, right? Now, for those who you're thinking about, well, everybody here wants to write a book, and you are thinking about writing the entire manuscript with your hand, I would say it's all right to write the notes like that. And now, if it works for you, it works for you. But try to get into the habit of actually using, technology, using the digital, whether it's your phone or the other options that I'm going to go into. Because what happens is at some point you got to get that from that paper onto a computer. Then it has to get printed. And that's going to be a hassle. It's going to be extra work that you're going to have to do. You're going to have to literally type it out, or somebody's going to have to do it for you at some point. So that's just extra work. So try to maybe get into the habit of using that technology. The second option is, of course, typing it, right? Now, with typing it, you can use a laptop or the devices that we have, our phones. I've had people send me books that was through Microsoft Word, and I've also had somebody send me a text message of the Notes app that he used. He wrote his whole book using the Note app. So you can do that. Not everybody has access to Microsoft Word or Google Docs and stuff like that, or even have a laptop. But for the most part, everybody got a phone. We all got a phone, so we can use the apps that we have to write our books. And you can send it to anybody and they can get it done.
Who has iPhone? All right. So y'all know your notes app. Okay. Who has Android? What's the app that for Android?
Yeah, so for me, there's an app called Writer P. It's free in the Android app store. You can download it and use it. Very similar to the Notes app on Apple. So I have an Apple device as well. It's very similar to that. You can organize the notes. You can title them. It has the ability to put specific titles and fonts and stuff like that. There's a lot of different options that are in there.
So if you're writing your whole book in these apps, you can just title the book and start flowing down. You can also create an additional, not title, but subject or whatever. Those ones you can create as your notes. And just plug in your notes from there. I'm going to get some notes going. Okay. He's up.
He's awake. All right, now here's the secret sauce right here. This is technology. We know that it's amazing, right? We already talked about writing. We talked about typing. Now I want to talk about transcribing, right? So who loves to talk? Anybody? You love to talk? You love to talk, right? Right? So not everybody likes to type. Some people are slow typers. Some people just don't like to do it. Who likes to type? Who? Or just one? Okay. You like to type? You don't seem too sure. You sure? Okay, so we got 2. But not everybody likes to type. Some people type slow, or even if they type fast or at a good speed, they just don't enjoy it. So you can actually get it transcribed, whether you send audio to somebody to transcribe it for you, or you can do it yourself. So Brother Hannibal and Brother Nikhil just talked about the apps. So what I use is an app called Evernote. Write that down. I'm telling you, it's golden. Evernote. And what you can do on this app is, we're going to go live with it. What you can do on this app is you can just speak. You turn the app on, you press audio, and it'll start recording you. And while it's recording you, It is recording everything, including the punctuation, commas, periods. If you're saying something where you want it to be a bullet point form, it'll even do the bullet point for you because it has AI attached to it, right? So if you are somebody who likes to talk, even if you want to just do notes, you can do this. This is something that I use every single day when I'm in my car. Like sometimes, like when I'm writing my book, I don't always write it as I'm typing. I'll be driving and I'll just come up with an idea, and while I'm driving, I don't want to start typing, right? You know, that's dangerous. So I pull out my phone, go to Evernote, and they're not paying me for this, by the way. You know, they should be. I go to Evernote and I just start speaking, and then I press stop, and there's an option that says transcribe. You press transcribe, and it transcribes everything for you. Huh? Well, I think every phone should have Evernote, the app. It's an app. Yeah.
Yes, it's on.
That's what I was gonna ask.
Okay, yeah, so you gotta take a look at that. See, that's everything that I said. And it has the commas, the periods, all of that. Evernote?
What's the app look like?
Yeah, green elephant. Yeah, so has all that for you.
That's on Android.
Okay. So it does all that for you. Even right, even if you go a point where you're not saying nothing at all, it's not going to have a whole bunch of gap with just silence, right? It's going to edit everything for you. It edits while you're speaking. And then, of course, after this, then you'll just, and this also is integrated with, you know, it's not just on your phone, so it's integrated. You can do it on your laptop as well. I have the app on my laptop. I have access to it on my laptop. So what I do is when I go home, it's all linked together. So this is, I'm signed in on my laptop and I'm also signed in on my phone. And I'll just go to Evernote on my phone, on my laptop, copy, paste it into my document, and then edit it from there. So that's going to be a useful tool. You seem excited. You seem excited about it.
Did you download it from the website or on your laptop?
I think with I just created a desktop shortcut. So I don't think it's an actual app. It's just a desktop shortcut that I just saved to my desktop. So you just go to the website. Now, the only thing is, I have the paid version. I don't know if the free version allows you to do the transcription. I don't know. I'm pretty sure they let you do the audio. I'm pretty sure of that. I just don't know if the transcription comes with it. I have no idea. Because that just came out of nowhere. Initially, it was just audio. And then one day I'm on here and I leave a voice note. And I saw it said transcribe. I'm like, press the button. Look at it. I'm like, oh, they messed up now. I know it's cold. So I don't know. So maybe you guys can tell me for those that don't have the paid version. But I pay for it yearly, so I think it's like $80 a year or something like that. I think it might be 80 or 140. I know those two totally different numbers, but I pay for a lot of subscriptions, so I get it mixed up.
Okay, so I have a question. In regards to Evernote and the actual Notes app that's on iPhone, what's the biggest difference?
So the actual Notes app on the iPhone, and I use that one too, is I don't know if they have the transcription for it. I actually use that, but I use it for something separately. So the actual Note app on the iPhone, what I use that for is for those that want to write. If you want to write down your stuff, they actually have it to where you can scan documents and it'll transcribe it for you. It'll turn everything into text. So the same way I just did it with my voice, where I spoke it and I turned it into text, that Notes app that's on your iPhone, you can just put it over it and it'll just and put everything there for you. And the only thing is with that is if you're handwriting it, you know, depending on how, you know what I mean, if it's sloppy, you know, it might have some curse words on accident in there because, you know, either because you're handwriting, who knows? That's the only thing. But that's what I use that for. Another option is, and also, oh, go ahead, brother.
I would say what Davion's showing us is how we move to the modern time. But really, this is how books are even made out much faster. So if you look at this process right here, so when I say you have 50 books of you, that right there automatically gives you your 50. Kind of right, you said you teach.
Mm-hmm.
So now, just off this right here, you just set up your phone, you were given instructions. Now you create lesson plans off that one.
Mm-hmm.
Create instructional books. Just off that one move, you look up, all you gotta do is tweak, adjust, add illustrations. Now, little PDFs back and forth. Those are still books.
Right.
Yeah.
So right there, you just put out, I don't know, how long is your course? Let's say course.
12 weeks.
So is it per day, per week?
Or 12 weeks, 4 days a week.
So let's say you took 4 of the days each week. That becomes one book. Now you did 12 books off that one book. Then if you wanted to, you can make it into one big one, or you just sell them as per what they need to know from what they get each book. They're really 12 books right there. So when I say you have 50 books easily, see, we're only dealing in that area. You're not talking about life coming from Louisiana, being in Arizona. I came in the wintertime, then I got introduced to the summer. That's a book.
Right.
Why
Yes,
Arizona
yes.
summer? That's a book.
How to go glad to stay on in Arizona.
That's a book.
So we say that you have so many books sitting in you. That's what we mean by it. And by utilizing an app like that, we're putting out books like that.
That is the official tagline for this. That's a book. Like for real. Like what he said, like everything that I'm saying today, this is being recorded. That's a book, right? The conversations that we have at home, like that's a book. All of it, right? All that. Only thing you need to do after that is just edit. You know what I mean? So maybe take certain things out. Oh, I don't want to put that in there. I just cuss my. You know what I mean? Like I want to put that in there. Take certain things out, but everything, our day-to-day life is a book, right? Everything that we do. And I also want to mention that with the transcribing, Microsoft Word also has it as well. Who has Microsoft Word? Okay, that they also have it as well, where you can upload an audio file and it'll also transcribe it for you. It does take a little bit longer than Evernote. I like Evernote because it's just much quicker. But you can sit there in front of your laptop, upload a file, and it'll transcribe it for you. There's also the other option as well where they have dictation, right? So again, Microsoft Word does that too, where they have a microphone where you press that button and then you can just speak and it'll it's essentially it's talk to text and it'll do all that for you. The only thing is with that is, and I wish they improved this, is it just puts the words. There's no commas, there's no periods. It's just a whole mess. Nothing. Yeah, I saw that pop up. I'm like, what's this? It's a little blue thing on the left.
But the positive is, it's off you and it's already on.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah. So that's so you have a lot of options, right? There's no excuse. When you a homework assignment is when you're on your way home, pull out audio and just record something, just your thoughts, right? Everything that we say can be turned into a book. All right, next I want to get into let's get into the meat and cheese. I don't know what's that saying. Let's get to the meat and potatoes, or let's get into the to the beans and well, I need a vegan option too. I want to get to a vegan option. I don't want to say meat. You know. All right, so outlining the book in the table of contents, right? Now this is the foundation of a book, and I think a lot of people where they go wrong is they probably just sit behind the desk, sit behind the chair, and just try to just start writing, but they have no type of direction to it, right? So what I always do is always make sure that even before my book is done, I already have, of course, my title. I have the subtitle. Sometimes I even have the book cover, right? I have the table of contents, and I also have an outline of the book. And the outline is just, you have the table of contents, so you know exactly what you're going to be talking about in every chapter, right? And then the outline is an even deeper breakdown on all of the individual topics that I'm going to be discussing in each chapter. And I got some examples here that are actually, it's a printout of one of my actual books. So these are the table of contents. So I always have my table of contents, and then I have have a breakdown. So that acts as a guide for me while I'm writing. And that before I write the book. I don't ever start writing a book until Thank you for saying that. Do what works for you. I am extra with it.
He did 8 pages of a 3-page essay.
Yeah. Just stupid. Just extra for no reason. Good. Yeah. So, like, yeah. Let me. But I'm gonna tell you why though. But again, I am extra. I do I don't. Yeah. So it's structured. So the reason why I do it is because, okay, I'm gonna use an analogy when it comes to like driving, right? What's the first thing when it comes to, if you need a, first thing you need to know if you need to go somewhere? What do you need to know?
Put your seatbelt on.
There we go. There we go. Hey, his daughter here, so we gotta say that. He gotta say that, right? You you need the address, right? So with writing, the address is essentially the book title. It's not only the book title, but it's the completion of that. It's the final destination. The address is the same as the final destination, and that final destination is I need to complete this book, right? So you need the address. What else do you need? You need the address. What else? You need directions, right? You need to know how to get there. You need to know if we just get in our car and we have the address, but we don't know nothing about the area that we're going to. You know, like if it's in Phoenix and you know Phoenix, okay, I know it's over there on 83rd. Okay, all right, you know, if you know, you know. But if we don't know anything about the area, then we're just stuck. We're just sitting in our car, not knowing. Okay, I'm not going to even pull out because I don't know if I should turn left or right. I don't know if I should get on the 202 or the 101. I have no idea, right? Now, if you know that general area, meaning if you've done it before, you've written books before on that certain topic, then you may be able to just pull out the driveway and just start driving. But at some point, you might get off the freeway, and now because you don't have the directions from that point, you're going to be stuck, right? So that's what it does. It gives you directions, right? Having an outline takes you step by step. And okay, I'm in chapter 1, all right? All right, chapter 1, i.e., I just pulled out. I know to turn left. This is what I'm going to talk about. So it gives you that guide. We have so many thoughts in our head and so many ideas that a lot of times we can get stuck because we're thinking about a bunch of different things. At least with me, I'm gonna switch the tone. With me, when I have so many thoughts in my head, I can't focus on one, right? I'll be all over the place. Sometimes I'll be wanting to write chapter 1 and 8 at the same time. I'm thinking about another book, right? So by me having this outline, I'm able to focus on that one subject. So that's why I think it's important, is because again, it helps you be guided. And I'm also going to get into writer's block too, because I think that's also a big portion of it and why I like to stay on course. So with the writing aspect, she mentioned it is as far as the environment, right? Environment is everything. Have a quiet environment. You know, like sometimes with me, I don't even want to be in my own room. I want to go somewhere else, right? So changing the environment is important. Sometimes you might feel cluttered. Maybe you need to just clean your environment, right? Maybe the table needs to be clean. Maybe the room that you're in needs to be clean, right? So environment is everything. And also, this is important. She mentioned this again. She said 2 words: just right. I can't stress that enough. Just right. Go ahead.
For me, like I said, I don't like to write, first of all. But for me, I can't write the table of contents and all of that. It's just, I'm sitting there in my zone space, and this thought, and I just start putting out the thought. Mm-hmm. And once I get this thought, then I can go back and do all the stuff. Yeah. But I can't just sit down and go, write a book and it's going to have
yeah. And that's good. Like, do what works for you, right? I'm crazy. So I do all this, I do all this, what might be unnecessary for other people, right? It may not work for everybody. Do what works for you if it's working. I ain't say do what don't work for you, but if it's working, then do that. If it's not, then you maybe try something else, right? But if it's working for you, it's working for you. Even if, go ahead. No. I know. I don't even know what I was gonna say. I forgot. So you good?
So as he said, even when he said just right, the writing may not be the strong suit. Like I said, English wasn't my favorite class. Just speak.
There we go.
Just speak. Grab your phone. Turn on the audio. Just speak. You have the idea. Just get it off.
Yeah.
You can always come back later.
There we go.
You can keep playing it over. I don't like typing, but I can play it over and over and start writing it down.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever that is, get it off.
There we go. Just right. Just speak. We'll add that to it too, right?
The reason I asked is I just was curious. Am I just doing it all wrong?
No, there's no wrong answers. No, there's no wrong answer. Are you getting content out? Are you getting the words on the paper, or so you're not doing it all wrong, right? You can, like he said, you can edit later. Like you're not even halfway through yet. You just get your content out. Just get those words on the paper or the audio, however you want to do it. The editing is going to come after. Like that's the refinement part. That's where the gold is. Like whenever I finish a book, most of the time, when I'm done writing it, I've kind of changed it now because now I don't just write. Now I'm like editing as I'm writing. So I'm you know, 'cause I'm crazy. So I'm editing as I'm writing, like literally. You know, but there was a time when I would just write the book, and then by the time I'm done, when I'm in that editing phase of it, or what I call that fine-tuning phase of it, I'm switching up a bunch of stuff. Like I'm reading this, I'm like, what was I thinking? I'm like, oh, I forgot about this. So you're gonna add stuff, you're gonna take stuff away. That's where the gold is. When you're writing the book, that's just a rough draft. Like they call it a rough draft for a reason. Because it sucks a lot of times, okay? okay. So don't sweat that part of it. It's not the finished product, right? The editing, the refinement, once you write chapter 3, now you're gonna think, oh, I should have said this in chapter 1. You write chapter 7, you're gonna think, oh man, maybe this isn't the right approach that I had in chapter 3. You know what I mean? So that's gonna happen a lot. You're gonna find out new things while you're writing. So don't sweat the writing portion initially because, like I said, the gold is in that editing and that refinement phase. Go ahead.
And then one other thing I'll say and add to that is, remember earlier he said, remember the goal, remember the intended purpose. So you guys wrote that down a little bit earlier. Wrote that earlier. So keep that in mind as well, that you're getting somewhere. So you may not necessarily have to have all of those things. Your brain just may work a little bit different. So again, whatever works best for you. Absolutely.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Okay. All right. So I want to talk about writer's block. Kind of touched on that earlier. All right. Okay. So for me, whenever I have writer's block, a lot of times it could be a few things that I need in that moment. It could be a spark that I need, and that spark can come from a conversation. It can come from something that you saw online, some interview or something like that. You could just be walking, right? It could be music, some type of spark that's going to trigger it. Find your inspiration. One time I remember I was working on my book, one of my 18,000 books. Which one was it? I don't know. I was working on one of them. And I was having a conversation with Bilal. And he said something that just triggered something in me. And I had to go back and you know, add some stuff to my book, right? It's always something. And it could be something that's completely unrelated. You could be writing a book about football and having a conversation with somebody about, I don't know, drawing, and that'll trigger a thought for some reason, right? So sometimes a spark is needed for you to get past that writer's block.
I just want to cut in real quick. Man, we locked in because in my mind I was just thinking about sharing that, and then you mentioned it as well. But that's not the only time he's done that. I can be having a conversation with him, just pour my whole heart out. He'll be like, you know what? Hold on, this is right in his book. So I bear witness that you can really pull inspiration from anything if you intend to. But yeah,
that was the moment I was talking about too. He was talking and I cut him off, and I didn't want to be disrespectful and pull out my phone while he was talking because he was talking about some deep stuff. So I had to let him know, like, hey, I'm just going, you know, I'm just take some notes real quick, right? Right. So the other thing is writing, to me at least, right? Well, I think in general, it's like a puzzle. So what's the first thing that you do? I don't know. Everybody's different. When you're working on a puzzle, what's the first thing you do when you're working on the puzzle? There we go. There we go. Okay. So right, it's the borders, right? The borders, right? The outline, right? I talked about having the outline for your book. That's the first thing you do is you do the outline. That's the ugly. Hold on. I'm somewhat of a perfectionist, so let me. You know what I mean? It's a border. It's an outline, right? So the first thing you do, so let's say this is a puzzle. Is the first thing you do is you do those corner pieces, right? So you do the outline. Hold on, these are puzzle. These are puzzle pieces right here. Boom, boom. You know, I actually used to draw back in the day. You know, boom, boom. Okay, so
always like.
Okay, hold on.
What kids
Hold on.
always
We gonna do.
Oh,
Hold on. What we gonna do? We gonna do the top row first, then. Okay. Okay. So this is what we. Okay. So we gonna do the top row first, right? Right. Right. Okay. But we still gonna do the outline, right? So we're gonna do that. We're gonna do the borders. Now this is the outline. What I talked about. This is the table of contents, the outline. This is all of the individual topics that you're going to be talking about in the book, right? That's the first thing that you do. So remember, it's like a puzzle. Now let's say you're working on your book, i.e., working on the outline, working on the puzzle. First thing you do is you probably go to the corner and you probably look for a piece, right? Am I right? I don't know, right? Look for a piece. Now this is you writing right now. So this is you working on chapter 1. Everything is flowing. You're working on chapter 1. Working on chapter 1. And let's say right here, you hit writer's block and you can't come up with anything. If we want to take it to the analogy with the puzzle, you can't find that piece. You're having a hard time finding that piece. You're just thinking. You're just sitting there thinking, and you can't find that piece. Well, what do you do? What do I do is, what do you do with the puzzles is you probably start looking for another piece and you start putting it together somewhere else. So you can always skip and go to another section. What I usually do is if I'm working on, let's say, chapter 3, and I have 6 things that I want to talk about in that chapter, and I get to the 3rd one, and now I can't think of anything. It's just that particular subject, it just isn't resonating with me right now. I'll just go to that next section, and then I'll go to the next one, right? And then I'll go to the next one. And then what ultimately ends up happening is, at some point, I may talk about something that's going to trigger some thought here, and I can go back to that. I might slip up on a puzzle piece because I've been doing all of this other stuff, and I'll slip up on a puzzle piece. So that's what I'll do. And also, let's say you're working on a chapter, and just the rest of the chapter just isn't resonating with you. It's okay to go to the next one. It's okay to go to the following one. You could be working on chapter 2, but you just had a conversation with Hannibal about a topic that you're talking about in chapter 8, and that's just pressing on you right now. Talk about that one. Because you can always, you always move things around. You can type whatever you want. There's something called copy and paste. You know what I mean? So you can always move things around. So those are some of the things that I use when it comes to writer's block. Go ahead.
Also, just to add on to that, so let's say you went from chapter 1 with chapter 8, down to chapter 5, now you're chapter 12, and you're still coming to a writer's block. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. You don't, of course, step away. I'm pretty sure we've been in situations where we're working on a project at school or we have to work, we get agitated. What do we do? I gotta take a break. Step away. Go focus on something totally different. Clear your mind. And at some point in time, it'll come back. Whatever that is, if I gotta go call somebody, like and then you have to talk in, if I have to go take a drive, if I gotta go cook breakfast, lunch, dinner, whatever it is, get your mind away from it. Because right now you might be so focused that now you're running into that.
Yeah.
Do something else. And then at some point you sit back down. Or something spark.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, like he said, you'll get those sparks randomly. Very random. You may just go to sleep, wake up, and it comes. You turn on something on the television. You don't have to, like he said, you don't have to always force it. Step away, it'll come. It'll come. So we want to go into the interactive phase now.
Yeah. Any questions before we go to the next?
All right. Want to get back to it. And we're going to, and like we said, we're going to send you, we're going to send you home with some resources, but I ran out of ink, so I ain't bring it here. So I'm not going to send you home with it, but it's going to meet you at home, right? So I'm going to send a PDF that's going to go over like a lot of different things, how to write an introduction, forward, all of the different components that, because you mentioned like you wanted to get a good idea as far as like the length of your book, right? So I'm sending all of that to you. Do you have any questions on that right now, though?
No.
Okay.
You mentioned the length of your book.
Yeah.
How do you decide?
Okay, let's go. Okay, hey, let's get it.
No, how do you decide?
Gotcha.
What is it?
Okay, got you. Okay, so
Per chapter or per
yeah. Yeah, so for me, always number one, I always want all of my books to be a minimum of 100 pages. Now, I'm not one of those where I'm writing 400-page books. You know, it's 400 right here. I ain't on this level. You know, and plus the stuff that I talk about is just not. I don't have I guess I could write a 1,000-page book if I wanted to. Anyone can. Any of us can, right? But I just like to keep mine within a certain page length. Everybody's different, right? So I personally want mine to be 100 pages. And the reason why is because, number one, I like the presentation, the thickness of it, right? I just like the way that it looks and feels. This one right here is about 160 pages or something like that. I like the way that it looks and feels. Another reason why I want all of mine to be a minimum of 100 pages is because printers, it has to be a certain thickness in order for there to be text on the spine, right? Now that minimum is, I believe it's 80 pages. Now I go through KDP, Amazon for my books, and that's the minimum to have text. If it's below 80 pages, they won't allow you to have text because it's just too small of a space, right?
So, what if you're wanting to more like a picture book for kids?
Most of, depending on the size, most of them have spine. They're usually folded over, stapled.
Yeah. So kids books, none of them really got spines on, unless you have unless your book is thick, you know, then you can put a spine on it.
I have a question on it.
Yes.
You chose this size.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, because you got taller books, like wider books.
Yep, I got it on here.
Yes.
What did you say it again?
Instead of having a book this, you know.
So why did I choose that size? Is that what you're asking?
Why did you choose this size? Is it so that you maintain that minimum page count, or?
Yes. Okay. Great question. So it depends. So when it comes to the type of books, different genres, different types of books, they typically have like a certain standard. There we go. Standard book. Like, so if you look at a lot of children's books, look like this, or they're square, right? Fiction, nonfiction are typically these sizes, but 6 by 9. But they also have different sizes though. So this one right here is a 6 by 9. This one right here, and the one that you have is a 5 by 5 by 8 by 5. So you really can't go wrong with either one. It's just what you like, right? But it does matter as far as, this is why I say this, when you start your book, try to write it within the margins that you're going to be ultimately printed in. And what I mean by that is, when you open up Microsoft Word, typically the default is this size, 8.5 by 11. That's the default, right? It's not going to be a 5 by 8, 5.5 by 8.5. It's not going to be like that size. This is going to be the standard. So if you're writing it in this, and then you send it to a printer, and they print it, what's going to happen is, if you ended up wanting a 5 by 8, they're going to print it like it's a 5 by 8. So your text is going to be all the way on the edge of the pages. It's just not going to be a nice presentation. Now with KDP, they have yellow tape to where if the margins are off, if it doesn't look well, they won't let you publish it. They'll let you know like, hey, this isn't right, you have to fix it. But there are some printers and people that you can go through that'll just take your file and just print it, just as is, right? And also another reason why I like to make sure that I'm typing, which I'm also going to be sending everybody templates of all of these sizes, by the way. So you're gonna be able to. I want to do a 6 by 9 and just start typing in that document, and everything is already going to be ready and print ready. All right. Another reason why I like to do this way is because, what was I going to say? Okay, boom. That.
It's
Yeah.
already prepped. It's ready. The structure is already marked in, so you don't have to do much if you go that route. You're not limited to it. You can go 8.5 by 11 and reformat it, but it saves you a little bit of time.
There we go. I caught it. Okay, there we go. And thank you, brother. Another reason why is because this is the way that it's going to print. So if you have, let's say you have a chart that's on a page and you want some type of text to go along with that, if you are doing it in a different document that's a different size, once you transfer it over, this might be on a different page, right? So this is going to tell you exactly how it's going to look like. Like with me, I'm weird. Like I told you, I'm really weird. Like and I'm getting better at this. But you know how when you're reading and you get to the very end of the page, and sometimes, and a lot of times, it doesn't end on the period. It just follows on to the next page, and that's how it is. I like for my stuff to end on the period, like, or like, and so I can start the next page. So I'll remove content, I'll delete sentences, I'll add more because I like my stuff to end that way. And with me doing it in the margins that I'm going to print in, I'm able to do that. I'm able to ensure that the stuff that I want to be on one page is on that page by doing it in that. Great questions. Any other questions? Okay.
I got 100 of my.
I see. What you need? This? Okay. Oh, let me show you. Just show and tell. Oh, let me see. And they have different types of books. They, like I said, they got different sizes and finishes. Go ahead.
Typical fonts.
There we go.
Like, what was that, 5x8? This is 5x9.
That's a 6x9. And the rest are 5.5 by 8.5. And this one is a 8.5 by 11. And that also is going to determine how much the book costs too. When you get your author copies, larger books, bigger books, they cost more for printing.
Somebody may mention they want to look for fake money. So Markel, right?
Okay.
Markel, excuse me. So I'll throw this piece out there real quick. So like my first book, all my books are through Amazon. I think I pay about $4 and some change to print. Plus shipping, each book's probably an extra $1. If Amazon sells it, I think I sell my book at $25. Amazon sells it, I make about $12. Once I order them, I come in, I sell them myself, I make about $22. So you see the difference? All right, so
we
get into that as we're going along.
Yeah, we're giving you Q3 stuff right there. That's Q3.
Aspect of it, you can actually make money off of it and have them control it.
Yeah. So font. All right. I use 11. So you can do 11, 12, right? Children's books may be a little bit larger, but the standard is about 12. But I like to use 11 for the books that I use. So you can pretty much go anywhere in that wheel. 11, 11 and a half, 12.
For larger text. Me personally, when I'm reading a book.
You like larger text? I would still try to stay as close to the standard because it looks more professional. I've seen books where the text is just huge. Yeah, it's just not a good look, right? You want the formatting to be as professional as you can. I know that you probably prefer larger text for you, but you're not gonna be reading it. You know what I mean? So you wanna make sure that the reader they'll be fine. Okay, got you. Okay, got you. Yeah, but we just got to think about the consumer. So I would say 11, 11 and a half, 12. Yeah, stop at 12. I may use I have a lot of quotes in my book all the time. So in my quotes may be larger, right? A name or something like that, they may be larger, but for the most part, I use 11. And sometimes I use 10. Like there was a time for one of my books before 18, I had special contributors give quotes for the book, which I need some quotes for you, by the way. Give quotes on the book, right? The book is geared towards young people, just giving them jewels for adulthood. And he was supposed to. Bilal was one of those people that I reached out to give me a quote for the book. This dude wrote a book. He went in on it, So so I ended up saying, you know what? I'm just going to use this as my forward for the book. But I still wanted it to fit on one page. So it wouldn't fit on one page as the 11 size font. So I put 10 so it could fit on that page. So that was the exception that I made to drop it down to 10. So you can always switch it up.
Yeah, that particular moment was very motivating for me as well because I just kind of
put my thoughts out there, and I sent it over to
So what
him.
interactive
And
did you want to do, the
he was
snowflake
able
or
to
the
ask
outline?
me with
Because that I think
motivation.
that's gonna take a while.
Like, man, yeah, I'm using
The
this
snowflake,
before,
it looks
this is
detailed,
good,
and that's
and
focused
I'm
on
like,
kind of
okay,
fictional type.
maybe I can.
Rather,
So,
okay,
shout
we'll
out
do
to
that.
Ahvision on that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Get forward. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We got a 3-course.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're gonna go through the whole process on how to write introductions for all that. Yeah. Yeah. So, 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 yeah. So probably. Yeah, so probably on the virtual call we can go more into detail about forwards and all of the components that go in the book, right? But we oh, go ahead.
One other thing I would say about font too, here's the other thing to consider. If your book happens to deal with people that have disabilities, there is an ADA compliant font that size that they recommend using. So I did a republish of my book that actually did an ADA font to be able to help people that have disabilities.
Oh, go ahead.
Next course, next class, we'll actually talk about different font styles as well. That's why I was like, are we talking about font in this? It's okay. I mean, it's a good question, but I think when we get into that, we talk about the different font sizes and we talk about different fonts that go into different genres. So we know we get into that. So this will be a lot of different.
So, oh, go ahead. Sorry. So we want to get you guys writing though. All right. Like we said, we want to make sure that you come out of this as authors and we get started. We want to be your accountability partner. So we want everybody to get started on their book today. Like not today, go home, but like in here. We putting this work in. Right. So who actually has like you already know what you want to write about, the book that you want to write about? No. So somewhat. Okay, for those that got the book, you already have like have you already written any type of outline? You already have it? Is it refined? Is it step by step? Because that's what we're going to do today is we want you to have your book title or just the subject of it and see if you can create a table of contents and an outline for the book, and we want you to do that here. Does that sound fair? All right, let's go. Any questions?
Oh, no. Outline and table of contents.
Yep, table of contents. And then for the table of contents, of course, you're going to just dive deeper into each point on what you want to discuss for each one of those.